I am joined by a Columbia, a Kansas, Wichita, a NBA international legend, Mr. Xavier X-Man McDaniel himself. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing fine. Just come here to see my son play tonight.
Okay.
And see some of the local talent also play too.
Okay. Now, for all of you who don't know, if you've been under a rock, you've been hiding somewhere, I don't know where you're at, we're going to talk a little bit about this Columbia legend. Now, played at AC4, class of 1981. He was pretty decent back there, Florida, from what they say. He was pretty decent. Guy went on to Wichita State. Some people would say he had a good career. If you end up being in the College Hall of Fame, I would think you had a decent career at Wichita State. Now, the resume only grows. NBA, played more than one. You had more than a cup of coffee in the NBA.
Right, 12 years, 12 years.
12 years in the NBA. Hey, I might be blushing over it. I'm a dark guy, but I'm over here blushing because you don't understand how much this means to me, sir, to have you here, a legend like yourself, coming back and just talking. Now, it's a lot of things going on in Columbia. One of the things we want to talk about is a camp called Hoopology.
Right.
Hoopology is run by James Pooh Abrams. He gets a lot of kids who want to learn the game of basketball, and they come to his camp during the summer and during the winter and learn basketball. What do you do with Hoopology?
Well, what I do, I will go over there and I will speak, talk about basketball, do some drills, tell them in the NBA, hey, guys get from the free throw line, the three-point line with one dribble. That's what I try to teach them how to get to that next level. I think Abraham is doing a great job with those guys because my daughter, who goes to the University of North Carolina, she grew up in that camp. My son is growing up in that camp, and, he's a rising junior now. Also, I think with having Hoopology and having guys, I think it's bringing Columbia back to when it was 30 years ago, where the talent was very, very rich. I think the 2014, 2015, and the 2016 class is going to be some of the best classes in a long time.
Yes. And I'm glad you said something about bringing the talent level back in Columbia because, I was born in 79, so I can say my basketball consciousness kind of starts when I was about 8 years old, and those late 80s teams from Lower Richland and Eau Claire, when you had all of that talent there in Columbia, Stanley Roberts, JoJo English, Joe Rett, all of those guys. And one thing it seems like, probably with Aaron Lucas, guy we had interviewed last night, it seems like the Columbia talent kind of slowly dripped off and it went over to the girls' side.
Right.
Your daughter being one of those players, and Teresa Jeter and Shaniska Gordman.
Well, I mean, when you talk about the girls, you think about it. I helped Roger Wiley, who works for the district office, and I've been his assistant for the past 8 years. And we pretty much average 18, 19 girls just off our team getting scholarships every year. So the girls' game has really picked up its level. I do see the boys' game coming back, and I think that's contributed to guys like Pooh having a camp and keeping the thing going year-round. This is such a football state, football-driven state, that sometimes basketball and other sports get kicked to the back burner. But you got guys like Pooh, myself, you got Tyrone. I mean, it's a lot of guys that I can name that's out there that's trying to help Columbia basketball get back to where it was. I think the next 3 classes, when you think about Jordan Roper come out, he was the only guy in Columbia with a scholarship in 2012. We had 17 girls off the South Carolina 76ers. So you see that big disparity. So we just got to keep working with these young kids and keeping them in basketball and keeping them focused.
You're right about that. Now, we're talking about all weekend long, during the Chick-fil-A Classic, we're bringing in a lot of players, a lot of people, famous names from the past who are going to be with us. We had Aaron Lucas. We had Coach Debbie Stroman and her daughter Morgan Stroman. They were with us last night. Tomorrow we're going to have JoJo English and Thaddeus Delaney. And I'm going to ask you the same question I asked all of them. You got 5 players. You got a starting 5 out of Columbia area players. Who is your starting 5?
My starting 5, I'm probably going to be a little different from them since there's a 6 or 7 year age difference between us. And I'm not going to put myself in there. I'm going to start off.
You know, Aaron Lucas, the first person he said was Aaron Lucas.
I'm not going to self-promote myself on this one, because when I think about basketball players, and I'm going to try to go and name, like, for example, would be Frank Streeter would be my center. Okay, who I looked up to as a freshman. Then I say you got Grover Phillips from Columbia High.
Okay.
Great shooter. You got Troy Lee Michaels from Dreer. You know, great player. You got the great Andre Hill from Eau Claire.
Okay.
You know, and you got the great Harold Martin. That would be my 5 guys that if somebody asked me who would I want to coach, those 5 would be the guys that I would want to coach.
Okay, that's great. That is great. And I love the fact that you brought those names, you know, names that I can remember my father talking about and my cousin Bryant talking about, just telling, you know, great players that he played with. And we go on these arguments all the time about whose era was better. And I'm glad that you brought those names. I'm just glad that you sat down here with me.
And I don't care what JoJo say or Aaron. I feel like that era, that 70s to that 80s, even part of his era, that was some great basketball in Columbia at that time. And you had some really great players. And I only didn't name a lot. That was just 5 we said. I could have named a lot more. You got guys that probably never heard of, like a Ed Jones and a Wink Jones, 2 brothers from Dreer.
Okay.
Big Bayou, Troy Lee cousin.
Okay.
Even your cousin Brian Wills, Chili Dog. You know, there's a lot of great players. Eau Claire got lots of players. McKinley Davis, Danny Pearson, Glenn McCants. I mean, I could go on and name a whole list of players, even from Lower Richland area.
Okay.
So Columbia's had a great run with players, and I'm glad to see it get that talent level getting back.
Well, Mr. McDaniel, I am so glad that you took a little bit of time out with us here at the Chick-fil-A Classic, just talking about basketball. We appreciate it. We're about to start this game. We're going to let you get out here and let you watch the game.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Anytime.